Okay, it's 6:30. We'll call the meeting. And Mr. Chisholm will lead us in the prayer tonight.
Would you pray with me? God and Father, we come before you humbly, and we come to you so very thankful. This occasion, Father, we're thankful for those willing to serve here. We're thankful for the staff and employees of the school, and above all, thankful for the students that you send us and put in our care. Father, it is our prayer that you will always grant us clear thinking, guidance, and seeking to achieve your will in the end of it all. Father, we know this place has been so very blessed, and we ask your continued blessing. We ask, Father, that all that we do, all that we think, and all we say will be to your praise and your glory. Thank you for your Son. It's in his name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
And to start it off, we will go downstairs and recognize the state football championship team.
Yeah, I do. That'll be the most enjoyable part of it.
That part.
Yep. How many of these are you doing this week?
A bunch.
You gotta go anywhere tonight?
Not tonight.
When it's here, it's a trip all of its own, then.
I've got a conflict on Thursday. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do them both. So I've gotta go and see what times. They're doing all right for it, maybe one time. Oh, that's- We're used to, but especially. Well, but I'll let you know, every office has to do something. Let me see. Okay. Let me do Jay. Yes, hold on. Again. Yeah, it's hard to get. I have people call all the time. I just don't have the people who do.
I just want to say, great job, guys. After last year, and then, every week, this is the week that Ben was gonna give. This is the week that Klondike's gonna give. You guys never let up, that's awesome, and we love watching you guys compete. The way you work out, the way you pick each other up, take each other to the gym. Go along to video games, and they will go to the gym or the weight room. It's fun watching you guys. You guys are freshmen and sophomores. These guys be as good as they are, it takes a practice in life to push their limits, the building makes some great. You guys are to take the gun with that, yeah. Great job, all of them, appreciate it. Pretty awesome group of kids, man, love guys. I was there, seventh grade, first year, we went to football. One for the just and the work and did a sign. And so in seventh grade, I was here. And you got we're smelling. We'll start off with our first one.
Well, actually,
I'll play.
I think it's been a long time.
Girl.
Haven't ever organized.
What do you have? Next movie.
You can tell me. You can tell this.
well, I graduated.
Yeah, they're now. They was like her. Have a spot? And Melissa work.
I'll introduce our speaker. Before I do this, a story that I don't know how many people know. We played the state championship game on Wednesday, and then Thursday, I had to get up early the next morning. I had two meetings back at ACC State. So I had one meeting, and then the second meeting was actually this man closing the all-state meeting. And I was about 30 minutes late getting there. You know, personal friends, ran a little bit long. And so I get there, and they hand me the all-state. And it's pretty well related, and everything. So what do you think? I look at it, you know, we had 7 guys who were working all-staters. And, man, like they stood with me and they stood with y'all, and 2 of the coaches said, look, Alan, if you knew how easy it is to write these kids' names on these teams, it's not because how good they are, but because of the way they act. And so, I mean, when I coach, 2 of the coaches that were at that meeting, we eliminated. One of them said, and whenever those guys say it's easy to write your kids down, the first thing on stage, number 1, yes, because they're studs, but number 2, because of the way they carry themselves, that's a big deal. And that speaks to the community and the culture of the school, and that makes me more confident. So this is me. So I'm going to introduce our 17ers. I'm going to kind of do a motion. I'm going to shake their hands on your neck. I did find out this weekend that I'm going to get to coach the All-Star game this summer, and I think we're gonna be able to have 3 of our seniors play with them. So we'll get one more time with those guys. So I'm going to bring them up and introduce the first off my president. Caleb Herzog. Beverly. Good work. Paul Denver. Photo hand. Bob Devon. That's President. President. Now, President, I'm worried about that, he seems to do the thing in the back and just real quick to move that. Especially if we face, we don't know what. Okay. Yeah, come on. Where you are? 133. All right. Thanks, Don't just lay your goods back in there and lay them, you can pull out the remark there.
Don't wear them out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, clean it. I'm gonna go grab one for the restroom.
Here.
Are there some, oh, there they are. I looked right at them. I didn't, you know. Cause they weren't sticking up. Do they have the aloe and the big?
Oh, those are probably a little rough.
I thought some of them wiggle walk around. Just sticking out their nose for the smell. Sorry, BJ. Okay, feel some in.
Oh, we're just.
Don't give me a button.
Good. On my. Vocal.
Okay. It's amazing.
Yeah, seems like we do that every meeting. Not a bad thing.
Good thing.
Hey. So who would you like up first?
Well, first, we have evidently no public comments. And I can report to you that we did not have any responses put into our public feedback portal. So, 2, 3, 4.
Paper, rock, scissors on who goes first?
No, it's first one.
Who was furthest away?
Yeah, it's Paul Jason from Specialized Public Finance that oversaw, he's the banker version. We have a banker version and an attorney version. And so he lost the flip and Paul gets to come share with us the news about that. Paul, I'll bring up that presentation that you sent if you want.
No, that's perfect. It's easy enough to do. I've got hard copies for everybody. Thanks for all your, Lacey, thanks for all your help with this. These are just the results of the transaction. So we received bids last Friday. When we started working with Nelson, we were working with an interest rate of 4.5% model and the debt structure. We received 6 bids. The main bid was Broadway Bank out of San Antonio at 3.46%. So that's a fixed rate, equal life of the transaction. Final maturity is, I'm gonna just page 1 here. Final maturity, it's a 10-year structure, 2036. And then it's callable in 2029. So you've got flexibility. What that means is you can prepay. You've got your current debt that's got a very short maturity. That debt matures in 2028. This debt matures in 2036. And so very pleased with those results. It's permanent school fund guaranteed, so it's the highest rated credit out there, the AAA. We know there's no tax rate increase to pay this debt service because of the county permanent school fund. Had to field a lot of questions about that. That's something that's definitely unique. That a lot of the banks aren't familiar with. We've got the bid tabulation on the next page. You can see all the different rates that they did. Roughly 100 basis points difference between the winning bid at Broadway and the last bid, Amagi. This is why we bid it out. We feel this is the best way to get the lowest rate for the district, and the size, the term made it conducive just to bank bid it instead of going to the open market selling bonds. Had some lower cost of issuance because of that as well. Page 3 is just the debt service structure. It's got your existing debt that pays off in 2028 and this new debt. What we try to do is structure this new debt around your existing debt. So there wasn't a significant increase in your overall total debt service. You can see it goes from 357 up to 463 and then around 441, and then it drops when your other bonds pay off. Again, final maturity 2036, and then after roughly 3 years, you can prepay it. This is just more detail on the structure. Some more for Lacey. You've got your first payment's going to be around $64,215 to 27. When you're very well versed on this process, when you get the invoice will come from the bank. They're going to serve as paying agent, so it'll come from Broadway. So they'll send it to you hopefully about a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks before. And then it should tie exactly to these numbers, the invoice for the interest and principal payments. And we don't start paying principal until 2029 when your existing debt pays off. So the par amount of the bonds that was voter approved, 1.9 million. And out of that, roughly 72,000 is paying for all the parties involved. That's bond counsel, Nelson's favorite person, Rudy Segura, our fee, attorney general, the bank has counsel. It's everybody's. That's your financing cost basically for everybody involved. And so you get the net of the 1.9 versus the 72,000. So the district will net 1.8 to 2 million at closing. We've got a timeline on page 6. So we're here tonight for this board to consider the order authorizing the issuance of the bonds, awarding them to Broadway Bank. And then if you decide to approve everything tonight, Nelson's got a stack of documents that need to be signed. I think sometime this week, if you don't mind getting those back to Rudy, I'd appreciate it. And then closing will occur, funds will be delivered February 18th. And this will go into construction fund. I think you probably already got set up, titled 2026, I think it's 2026A, or construction fund, series 2026 construction fund. Then you'll have your, I don't know, did you set up a debt service fund before to move money over to make your okay? So that is an overview. I know y'all have a long agenda. I appreciate the opportunity to work with the district. We worked with y'all in the past, my partner Vince, and I met Nelson about 15 years ago at Guthrie. So
I didn't have hair then either.
a little more.
I was about 40 pounds heavier.
I was skinny. Thank you.
Any questions for Paul?
Just callable anytime at par.
Yes, that means there's no penalty. So you just at par means you pay it what's due. You know, there's no penalty, which would be like sometimes it's called a 103 or 104. So it's payable at 100% of principal payments. So there's no penalty to prepay.
That was just the one with the highest interest rate though. The Amergy Bank, it's callable anytime at par.
Yes, but we went for the lowest interest rate.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Johnson, thank you. Thanks.
Anybody have any questions?
That's it.
So is everybody okay with going with first choice? 3.46, was it? Yes, with Broadway National Bank.
Yeah.
So we'll need a motion to approve.
Do we do that now, or do we have it later on? Do it now?
No.
Okay,
Andy makes a motion,
Motion, yes, sir.
I'll second it.
Stephanie seconds, all in favor? Thank you, sir. Thank you for driving out here. We know it's not a fun drive. It's a little stressful. Did you
Be
drive-
careful.
Did you drive a tank?
Easy, that was 7
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So we have, as Paul said, we got a series of documents to sign, and I think it'd be better to do it while we got you all here in one spot. And Kinsey and Cody sign on the tab sheet, please, and pass that back to me.
So I can take those back, because it's easier for you.
Well, I evidently have to get them
You
notarized
do.
tomorrow, so I'll have to
Okay.
send it to
All
you.
right.
Okay. All right, don't worry about it. Kinsey and Cody, on the yellow and red tab sheets, there's two there for your signature.
Which one?
All these documents to sign, and you know what they say?
What?
That bank is buying $1.9 million of bonds, and we're gonna pay them back. So what all these pieces of paper mean.
You just put it in layman's terms.
Rudy and our other attorneys don't like listening to me.
These are from the kids, very
And Lacey, I tend to try to shrink the words.
Keep it simple.
Kinsey and Cody, there's two documents there. Yellow and red tabs. Kinsey and Cody, back 2 pages, two signatures each.
Get paid your co-signer.
From bus.
Yeah.
Bus.
So-
No, you gotta put it on my.
Our names be on the back. Once you go out.
Cody's house is gonna go on the market for,
I'll be around tomorrow if you want to do it tomorrow.
Cody only on this one. I have to take my parents to the doctor tomorrow. So
Just one.
we better,
Just.
and then Kinsey and Cody both on 2 pages, 2 documents, there, 2 signatures. Sure.
No,
I'm good.
MBA clerk.
Thanks, sir.
Big thanks.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for being
y'all.
here.
Thanks, sir.
Be careful.
We'll go for that.
Pardon?
Done long over that.
Well, I know. I know.
Where's he at? San Antonio?
Where,
Dallas?
where do you say he lives?
There,
That's
down there is.
Oh. Where all the witch people live.
He said his in-laws live in Abilene, so my.
Much.
In-laws, yeah, forget that. I love Stick and Gene. Okay, next, Cody, we're at number 5.
Who was up next?
That's Kim Barrington of Bennett Trice.
Okay, consider final audit 2024-25 school year by Bennett and Trice PLLC.
We'll get it to you so you can put it on the screen, but I bet they're fine with that. We'll start off with the actual audit reports. Do I have new members that have never been on the school board? Okay. I'll try to kind of summarize how this thing works because y'all work with fund financial statements. Y'all do your budgeting that way. You do that's what you look at every month when you are looking at your financial statements. When we do an actual audited financial statement, we have to take that financial statement and kind of make a business financial statement out of it. So what we have to do is we have to back out the fixed assets that you buy. You have to put your bond information on there. You've got information from the state for pension plan. You've got to put those liabilities on there. So there's kind of 2 parts of financial statements on there. So when people are new, I like to kind of tell them what they're looking at. So let's start at the beginning. There's a chart of, not chart of accounts, an index that tells you what's in here. And of course, the first thing we have is the certificate, which after we're done, y'all can vote on that. And we have our auditor's report on page 2, and y'all's audit report is a good report. That's all most people care about, that it's a good report. And then there's a section that's called MD&A, and that's just kind of a summary of the transactions that went on for the year. And in these comparisons are the business comparisons that are in the MD&A. They're not your fund financial statements. They are when it's converted to the business portion where it has all the liabilities on there and stuff like that. If you skip over to page 12, this is the A1. This is what in a business it's called statement of net position, but in a business you would call this a balance sheet. This has all your assets on here. It has your fixed assets on there. It tells you how much you spent on land. This is net of depreciation, buildings, all that type of stuff. And then it also has, if you look further down, like 2501 and 2502 has what you owe on their bonds there. As you'll look through there, there's some deferred outflows and deferred inflows and expenses. This has to do with the TRS pension and the TRS OPEB liability. And this is just required by the TEI. Well, it's governmental accounting that you have to put it on there. But they provide, TRS provides the numbers for the calculations, thankfully, because I would not have to do that. So, but that's kind of what that is. And then if you go over to B1, the next page, this is, if you were in a business, you would call your income and expenses thing. Here it's called, and this is converting everything there, your expenses, your taxes, you pick them up all, you don't have an allowance and things like that. You can see that, but that's how that works. I mean, it's just something for you to read. You keep on going on C1, this is your fund, like your thing. And this shows where y'all are at, how much cash you actually have in the bank, your property taxes that you have outstanding, accrued salaries, the unearned revenue, and this is your actual fund balance that y'all work with. And as you can see in your general fund, we ended up with a fund balance of $13,777,000, close to it anyway. If you go to C2, that kind of tells you what changes we made to get to the business financial statement, if you want some detail. And then if you skip on over to C3, this is your actual fund statement. This is what y'all ended up with as far as the general fund is the first column, and then all your other funds fall in together. towards the end of this, way back in the H section, if you're interested, there is a breakdown of what that second column is, what it includes, mostly your debt service and some of the capital projects, and then your special revenue, like the federal funds that y'all do get. And then there again, the C4, right behind it is what the conversion to get back over to the business. Okay. Proprietary fund, the only reason y'all have a proprietary fund because of the internal service fund for your workers' comp. Y'all are internal, y'all cover yourself on it. The next one, that first D 1, 2, and 3 all have to do with that. Skip to 21. This is the custodial funds, which are the activity funds. So altogether, we have $135,000. It depends. We've got, Lacey keeps a schedule of the ones that it all includes and everything, but that's the grand total. Then you get to the notes, and there's all kinds of information in this notes. And I've told people before, if you need good reading to go to sleep, pretty good reading. But you will find over, for instance, over on the, what page is it? On the page, I had it marked up on, like your debt, like if you go to page 43, it shows all your debt service requirements. Of course, that's going to change this after tonight. We add some more to it, but that does show you what your liabilities are for your bonds. And then also, y'all do have some different accrued pay where y'all do pay some money on the days, sick days and stuff that people don't use them with a fund on that, and that's right above that. But there's all kinds of information in there. What's the local revenue? And one of the things that was a big local revenue this year was the 313 money that y'all got. That was a big boost for sure. Then you go over to G1, which is on page 62, and that shows how y'all did budget wise. And y'all were, because of the extra revenue, y'all were well over, y'all were ahead on the budget for sure. Original budget, we had expenditures there for nearly 6.3 million. We raised it to 8.9 and we ended up spending 8.4. Of course, the taxes had gone up a little, not much. There was like less than $100,000 actual in the taxes. The interest had gone up a little because we did have more money in the bank because of the bonds and also the 313 money. And so altogether, it was a good year. I do have several schools, and it's becoming a norm, unfortunately, instead of that a lot of the schools are budgeting deficit budgets. And that is a concern for some of the things. The G2s, 3, 4, and 5 are all just a summary of what y'all, of the pension. The first ones have to do with the pension, the first two, and the second two have to do with y'all share of the OPEB, which is like the healthcare for the retirees. And the thing about this, I don't think y'all would ever have to pay it unless the state of Texas went broke, and this is what y'all do for that type of thing. So, but it's just required, just required.
Which one is that?
Either one of those, the OPEB or the on there. It's a kind of a combination that they make it. They've got fancy names for part of it's deferred, part of it's not, and then this is your liability. But some schools on that front page actually end up with a negative fund balance because of it. Some large schools on there. And then we get to the H's, and y'all can look at those. That's what I was saying. That's just kind of a summary of that we talked about earlier. And then on page 70, this is a summary of your debt collections and what's still outstanding. And you can see that at the end of the year, y'all had 93,437. That was up a little bit. I didn't ever talk with the tax office to see if there was a problem. If somebody was holding out. Sometimes there's a dispute and they don't want to pay it or something. But it wasn't. It's still not a large amount by any means of imagination. And then there's the fund, on J two is your debt service budget. Y'all were good there. And then we have to turn another report into TEA to tell them, even though you already know how much spending you're spending on special or compensatory ed and bilingual, but we have to tell you. And then at the last is a letter on your overall internal control, and we've had a good report on that also. That's kind of fast and furious, but I don't think I want me to read more details. One thing that I did hand to you, and this y'all can take a look at. Inside this report, like I said, in the MD&A is a comparison of the business type financial statements. Nowhere in this report is there a comparison of what y'all spent by function from year to year. And I always think it's interesting. To me, if I was on the board, I'd want to see that. And so this is just a kind of, it doesn't do the revenue, it's just the expenditures. But it what you spend on instruction on each year versus each one. And but it's just, like I said, it's not in the report anywhere. You'd have to actually take both audit reports together and look at it. And so I always try to give my boards this just as an extra for them to look at and kind of see where they're at. And you can see of course, the capital outlay was down, but all of y'all have nearly all of that covered by the permanent school fund. And of course, we had a corresponding down there, less the reimbursement from the on there. So overall, I mean, y'all's expenditures overall were up a little bit. I mean, well, they're 765,000 from one year to the other, but net after the permanent school fund. But that's, like I said, that's really not ever in anything that you're looking at. So, like I said, I wanted to be sure and give you that so you'd have it to look at. Anybody got any questions?
I've been telling them that we finished in the black because of the interim superintendent that they brought up.
That might have been it.
You can confirm that.
I can confirm. That might have been it. Lacey and her staff, you and, huh? Tanya, they do a good job. They do a really good job.
Especially on fixed assets.
She doesn't like that.
She does not.
She's got a,
Do you know anybody that does?
not anybody, nobody, that's for sure. So,
Any
but
questions?
yeah.
Okay.
And like I've told you before, after you've read it and absorbed it, if you still have questions, get with Lacey, give me a call, email, whatever, and we can go through it if you've got more questions.
I don't know which page it was on, I lost it, but you had said we'd put, maybe Lacey can answer, 6.4, but we wanted 8.9. And it turned out 8.4, but there's like a 2.4. Is that the football stadium? Difference.
I'm not sure.
Okay, but you're talking about on what you got from the Clemens School Fund or what? Part of
They're all start running together.
Well, it all starts running together, and that project carried over for 3 years. It started 2 years ago. We had some last year on it, and then it finished up this past year.
And that was the architect's fault.
But it did go over 3 years.
See right here. See the.
You talked about on the construction.
Facilities acquisition.
That's the biggest portion was probably that
Football stadium.
the finishing up of it. And I can't remember, it might have had houses were in there too. Yeah,
So
that's
that
everything.
all hit last
Yeah,
year.
that's everything. Yeah, 2 of the houses. And finishing up the stadium. There probably wasn't as much finished up. Most of the stadium stuff was probably the prior year, the biggest portion of it. There was some in here, but it was, most of it was the year before. It was just finishing it on that. So. You are fixing to do more houses, I hear. Is that the plan?
If Lacey will let us.
We're going to.
Well, it seems to work. Like I said, they have my information. Just give me a call and we can discuss it if you have more questions. Okay? So now I just need a vote to approve it.
If somebody, you ready to write, Mackenzie? If somebody will move to certify the auditor's report for St. Gerard ISD for a year ending August 31, 2025.
Okay,
Let me say that again.
so what's here right now is to approve the audit of 24-25 as presented. So is that good? Okay.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Stephanie makes a motion, BJ seconds, all in favor? Thank you, ma'am.
Lindsay and Cody. Kim, safe travels on the way home. About 2 weeks ago, we had 9 cows hit and killed around Claremont.
Cows, huh?
To the west, yeah.
So you gotta watch for cows, deer, and
hogs.
Be safe.
There's dead bobcat on the right of him.
Sometimes another car.
Sign.
Yeah,
Yeah, I have to, well, you can scan it and send it to me.
I will.
That'll work. We just have to put it in with the audit.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that'll work.
I will do that.
Thank you, ma'am. Be careful.
Safe going home.
Thanks, Lisa.
Next, we'll move to 6, action item, consider approval of the plans and specifications on the JGISD softball and baseball complex as prepared by the architect and submitted to Farr and Company for bidding. Approval for this item authorizes the project documents to be advertised and bid in accordance with applicable procurement requirements.
All right.
Steven, you got the floor,
So
sir.
this is a exciting time. I feel like this is a moment we've all been waiting for, and we did prepare the documents. We completed the documents and presented those to FAR Construction on Friday, end of day. And so we're just in that process right now. We have kind of what we're going to call a 21-day grace period to where we have time to make any changes that we feel necessary. There might be some errors that we may have made. I'm getting emails back and forth right now between myself and Jason with FAR on some items, different languages that they may have wanted written. We'll kind of go through some allowances, go through some of the alternates that we have listed. But we have a moment and opportunity to make any changes right now that don't actually affect the overall cost of the project. And so one of the things I was telling Mr. Coulter is we'll probably have kind of what we're going to call an owner page turn that might involve the coach and or Keith, just to make sure that we've accounted for any and all, technology type aspects of it, just to make sure that we don't miss anything. So I'll just quickly, I don't know if is there a pointer or a clicker or a
I'm your clicker.
clicker. So I'll just kind of quickly go through the set of documents that we have. Again, we have kind of a cover page. These are our 2 consultants. So Agnew Associates, again, is our MEP consultant, and then AMD is our civil engineer. So the first page you see here. So again, if you have the set of plans, it might just be kind of a good idea to just try to understand what you're looking at. We have an abbreviations list referencing symbols that you'll see throughout the project. Sheet index, so that shows you from just general project information. We kind of tailored the drawings in order as you were to build it. So civil, structural engineering, architectural, plumbing, mechanical, and electrical. So that's kind of the generics of how the set is put together. Let's go through there. So this is what we call a building elements page. Most of our general floor plans, specifically concessions or dugouts, et cetera, have these what we call building elements. So floor construction, roofing types, ceiling construction. We have basically load-bearing wall types. So any and all information that you might find on a plan that typically has a note that says, CB 40, that stands for a concrete block that's 3 5/8 or 4 inches thick. So slab on grades, this R1 stands for basically a 60 mil TPO roof, or we have basically just an R panel style roof that's over the dugouts. And so this right here just is, if you're looking at the floor plans, just breaks down the materials that we use, if you have an idea of what that number may mean regarding a specific wall type or roof type or ceiling type. And this corresponds with our specs as well. So again, this ACT1 is a suspended ceiling acoustical tile that's vinyl coated for wet areas, things like that we're putting within the restrooms and putting those within the concession stands. So
Next ones are just kind of general TOS, information. That, you know, typically contractors, that gives them just kind of there's a book, TOS book that they have, but this is just the formality type things that we include in our drawings. Next to there, this is. Go next one. So the next set, so what you'll see is kind of our civil sheets here. And I'm not gonna go through every piece of this, but, you can just kind of scroll through these. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Most of these are civil. The only alternate that we have at the moment for civil engineering is to go from an asphalt-based drive and parking lot to a caliche, kind of a caliche-based, as a deductive alternate to save money. These parking spots here, the handicap would still be concrete. They'll actually go from asphalt to concrete. So that is the alternate, I think that one was alternate 3 that we have there, so.
So Stephen, if I understand correctly on the alternate thing, after Jason, assuming the board approves the plans tonight, then Jason will put bids out to solicit for subcontractors and what they think they can do their piece for. When we meet on February 16th, then Jason Farr will have for us a guaranteed maximum price. And when you use the term alternates, then like on that parking lot covering, he'll have a price for the caliche versus a price for the asphalt. And the board at that time can take a look at the bottom line price and say, yeah, we think we want the asphalt, or no, we don't. We think we want to go with caliche. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's correct. Yeah. So just real quick on the alternate. So alternate 1 is to basically not do a CMU style dugout, so a concrete block dugout, and go to more of a chain link style dugout with a hard lid. That's a deductive alternate. Base bid is the CMU, and so it is a deductive alternate to go to what is a lesser constructible material, which would be the chain link. So alternate 2 is to go, and what this is the field striping. If you remember, there was 2 options to do basically a solid green field on the outfield and the infield for baseball. That is an add alternate to go to the striping because it is an increase. And then alternate 3 would be the hot mix asphalt to the aggregate. And then 4 would be an add alternate to do the canopy over the seating. So those are the 4 alternates that we have in the project.
Can I stop you there? Y'all got a question for him? Everybody following what he's saying? The difference of delete alternate and add alternate.
Okay. So again, just kind of running through the civils.
Keep going?
Yep, just keep going.
Keep going?
Yes, sir. Keep going. Architectural is way more exciting.
Stop me when you want.
Yep, keep going. So these are just detailed constructional details of jointure, etc. This is structural. So we looked at a couple different options. What's the most economical one? We wanted to make sure that we were in alignment with Jason's budgeting. And originally we thought we were going to condition the space as well within the facility, which caused more code issues on the energy side of things. And so with that, we would have had to basically do continuous insulation on the outside of the building. So that assembly would have been a steel stud, sheathing, waterproofing, a layer of 2-inch insulation, and then a masonry material, right? That would have been the type of envelope that we would have used if we were going to condition the space. That is not how they budgeted originally. They used like Roosevelt or I believe or something like that recently. And if we were to condition it, we would have had to meet the energy code and do a continuous insulation. It was after talks, we decided not to condition the space and to build it similar to what they did in Roosevelt. So our envelope of our building is basically just CMU. And it's the same style of CMU that was used on the child daycare facility, same style of CMU that was used on the football field. So it will match, so kind of a cohesive campus amongst all those. But it's not conditioned. There is exhaust and heat within those spaces, but it's not air conditioned. So just kind of want to note that. But There was also potentially a discussion to do, like a CMU load bearing walls and then pre-engineered trusses with just a metal roof. That was not as cost effective as what we have here, which is bar joist and a TPO style roof that has parapets and internal drains that lead out to the outside wall. That's a system that we do all the time, but it was more cost effective to do it that way than what they did in Roseville.
Keep going.
Yes, sir.
Go.
Yeah, so just structural detail drawings. We do have a kind of a pre-engineered, and I'll show you, there's a pre-engineered kind of a canopy that overhangs the concession. It's not a solid canopy, it's louvers, it's more of a sunshade type thing than it is more of a, weather protective element. Keep going. These are detailed drawings of the dugouts. Dugout does have a storage. This drawing here, you can see back out, this drawing is what we call a life safety drawing. So, in every one of these spaces, we have to give it an occupant load, which then, equates to kind of how much plumbing the, number of occupants then goes to a study and a chart that then tells you how many plumbing fixtures you ultimately have to have. That information is all kind of found here. Again, we've got seating for 150 people each. And then, we technically don't, look at occupant loads within restrooms, but it's really just kind of the concession area and or storage areas. So that information is all found there. Just our overall generic site plan. So we got kind of a limits of the work. We've got our baseball field, our softball field, again, our parking lot that connects the Wheats Jones Street. And then kind of our flat work in between. So our concessions here in the middle with the two pre-engineered seating systems in between. There are no batting cage facilities anywhere. Each field does have a double bullpen or a single bullpen, doubles being on the home side, singles being on the visitor side. There is a perimeter fence all throughout with a double gate there at the front entry. The gating that is around the field in itself is a vinyl coated. And then from basically the bullpen to bullpen, that's a non-vinyl coated, just a galvanized coating there. We do have the field fence around the batting cage or around the bullpen all the way to this point here is 8 feet. We do have a batter's eye at 16 feet. There is a low wall at the bullpens that's at 4 feet in both softball and baseball. And then softballs is a continuous of 8 feet all the way around. We have field lighting spread throughout. We've got field dimensional lighting plans, as well as we got foul poles and scoreboards, all that stuff is called out on the plans.
You said 16 and 8 foot, you mean like a warning track?
So no, the height of the fence.
Okay.
Yeah, we do have, if you go to the next drawing right here, this is our field dimensional plan. So in this, we're basically dimensioning everything in regards to the layout of the field. We do have a 15-foot warning track, for baseball. It's 10 foot, I believe, on softball. This is more enlarged details that deal with the pitcher's mounds and the home plates and or bullpens that are associated really with both. And then typical drainage on the softball that deals with how the turf and how it meets. There's a concrete ribbon that goes all the way around this, where the fence is, positioned directly centered on that concrete ribbon, and kind of how that turf ties into that concrete. There's all that's coming down here. There's just standard details.
Is there a space if we wanted to add batting cages in the future that would naturally fit?
Yeah, I mean, right in through here. Yes, ma'am.
Did we scratch those off, batting cages?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It was, for some reason, we just decided not to do batting cages.
Probably financial, I would imagine.
That was me. That was
Okay.
me.
Okay.
Well, and that was done even previously before with, previous superintendents.
Okay.
So. Okay. Again, this is softball, where we're just kind of identifying overall field dimensions and layouts of the fields. Then we have what we have as a materials kind of plan. We're identifying the types of turf. So in this right here with this hatch, identifies a base bid and an alternate. So it might look striped, but again, it's just a graphic that we have. Just showing that that is one type, and whether it's in a base bid or an alternate version. It's there. We do have the logos blown up for reference that get into different colors. And then again, these are just legends. So field lighting, scoreboards, foul poles, it just tells you everything about what each fence patch would be. That kind of gives you an idea. If you didn't understand exactly how tall this fence is, you can see that it's a much smaller text and it's a 4-foot fence, and tells you everything about it. Same thing for softball. Next one, this is field lighting. So it gives you dimensions for exactly where our field lighting holes would be based on calculations that have been put together for us from outside consultants. And then this is just kind of an overall in terms of concession. So we have what we call a slab edge plan. So it basically identifies any load bearing walls and or concrete slab on grades. If we had floor drains, which we do so floor drains in the middle of both here and in the restrooms. And so it's just dimensioning, where those walls would be relative to the slabs. Then just our basic overall floor plan for the facility itself, which in this plan here, we do a lot of more of our outside dimensions. Our reflected ceiling plans. So again, this little note, if you zoomed in there, would say ACT, which references back to that building elements page, and then also gives you a height of that ceiling relative to the finished floor. So I believe it's at 9 feet. And then here's what we got our enlarged floor plan, where we do most of our interior dimensions. It's where we reference our door types, which go to our door schedules. We call out toilet partitions, just a more detailed plan in that enlarged sense. So we've got some wall sections that go on that go to other plans. And then kind of our roof plan, again, it's a 1/4 inch per foot TPO style roof with internal overflow and roof drains that will basically then go out the wall and chases. So it's all internal. There's no scuppers or downspouts or anything like that.
What does TPO stand for?
Oh,
Do you
gosh,
know?
it's a thermoplastic. It's like a sheet membrane.
Okay,
That's a
gotcha.
membrane.
It's a membrane, yeah. So, and then just our overall, so our elevations are here, and then just generic building sections here, so. You can kind of see the canopy off on the front. Control joints, etc. The next plan is basically just, again, it's the same information, but it's only there basically for our dugouts. So again, we've got a slab edge, an overall plan, an enlarged plan. In this case, we're identifying, we've got the lean rail out in front. We've got our storage area with our overhead door. So just a little bit more information, enlarged information to detailing of the size of that concession, or to the size of the dugouts for both the softball and the baseball. The sizes are all the same, so make a difference. And then here, this is kind of it's really just an informational only drawing. Southern Bleachers helps us. They provide us these details. We put them in there, and then ultimately, whether it's Southern Bleachers or Sturdy Steel or somebody, they'll bid them. But again, we've got the seating. This is, a view of it basically without that canopy system. This is a more detailed view of the press box and what that looks like. And then the next page is the alternate, which identifies the canopy over that seating system.
So that's one of the alternates next month, when they look at the guaranteed maximum price. They can see the cost of the project with canopies over the bleachers versus the cost of the project without canopies over the bleachers, and make that decision then.
That's correct.
And remind me of the other 3 alternates you mentioned earlier, if you can. This is not.
No, it's just right here, just make sure.
Or
Yeah. So we've got to go from the CMU dugouts to a chain link
Okay,
dugout.
yeah,
To do the striping in the turf.
Yep.
So the base bid is no striping.
okay,
The add alternate would be to do the striping.
Okay.
The third one would be to go from the hot mix asphalt to the aggregate Caliche style base. So you
Yep.
still will have a concrete
gotcha.
handicap accessibility stalls. And then the last one would be the canopy, which would be an add
Mhm.
for the canopy. So again, here's that canopy. And this is a canopy that is designed by Southern Bleachers or the seating system manufacturer. The canopy that we did at the stadium was done by our structural engineers in-house, so. This would have a metal roof to this compared to we have the fabric, over there at
Okay.
the stadium.
At the football field.
Yes, sir, at the football field. So the next sheet here, you wanna blow it up? I don't
I'll
have to
blow
see
it up back. Gotcha.
This is just an equipment materials list to where we're identifying, bases to pitcher's mounds, to the quantities, basically makes and models, quantities, to, foul poles, to the lean rail system, to the wall padding detail that happens behind the backstop, all of that information. There's quantities, there's descriptions, manufacturers, and then comments and notes are all found right there. Any questions on any of that at the moment? Next is elevations to the dugout. So at the moment, it is a painted CMU and not a split faced or a burnished CMU like the concession. So the reason for that was just based on what FAR budgeted. That's what they did. It'd be more expensive to do a burnished or a CMU dugout to match the concession compared to just doing basically a gray block with an epoxy paint. Any thoughts to that? We just try to align with how they budgeted.
But you're saying it's still going to look like,
It's
It-
just gonna be painted.
It's gonna be painted
Metal.
block. So it'll be whether it's a black or, whatever color we might wanna look at doing. Whereas the concession itself will be like that two-tone
It'll
type of
look
the
like a
tan.
daycare center.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
So if we wanted it to match like the concession, it would be an increase in cost.
Yeah.
So. I think the 500s were just wall sections, that we have that we're developing a little bit more detail from interior elevations. And again, that the interior finishes for the concession are a sealed concrete floor, painted block, so it's just painted wall structure. If I'm in the concession, and then we basically have a stainless steel countertop. We have plenty of power and outlets for all the equipment, but there are no cabinetry, there's no millwork. The only thing that's in there is basically the stainless steel top and wall space and outlets for equipment. We do have a 2-compartment sink and a single hand sink. Now within the space, so.
That came from a conversation we had last week or week before, about what was gonna be inside the concession stand.
Mhm.
And, I told Stephen I didn't, I didn't think we needed commercial cooking equipment in there. And then, when we got talking about the cabinet millwork stuff, I was thinking in terms of the place being shut down for 8 months out of the year. And I didn't want a place for rats, critters, skunks and snakes to procreate.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking in terms of open shelving and stainless steel tables that can be moved around. We can see the floor always, and floor and mill.
So in the restrooms, again, it's sealed concrete, painted block walls. We have ACT ceiling. We've got what we call, like a phenolic, toilet partition. So it's kind of like a hard plastic toilet partition. And then just standard, fixtures in that sense. So that kind of white porcelain style ink with the mirror and, those kind of items. So very utilitarian.
Does the concession area have the necessary wiring or plugs for, like, if you wanted to take a fryer in there or something, does it
Yeah.
have?
Yeah.
Okay, it has
Yeah.
that kind of electrical.
And then we asked, the local fire chief.
Yeah,
Well, our concerns is when we start talking about cooking, it becomes a kitchen.
Right,
And we have to have, hoods and, Angel systems and things like that. And so we talked to him about a residential style range, and he said we do not have to have a commercial style hood, for that said equipment item. So at the moment, we have no range in there. It's just, or no hood,
okay.
but you could, bring something like that in. A lot of times with small ones, it's just, a booster dad or mom out there cooking on a grill.
Right.
Right, and so concession
Not
ends up being
Andy.
a warming, you know.
Not Andy or Cody, you're.
Yeah, so yeah, those concessions just end up becoming like more like a warming kitchen of just, you know.
Yeah.
So. Again, so MEPs to follow, so this is mechanical information, schedule details. Yeah.
Am I still going?
Yes, sir, yep. So this is just, basically domestic water and plumbing layouts in both plan and 3D. And so everything that we do, with our consultants is all BIM, which is called, Building Informational Modeling. So we're all doing things in 3D. And so hopefully we run programs what's called clash detection. So if we start seeing errors, maybe there's a ductwork that's hitting a beam, it presents an error to us in a warning. So hopefully when we're out there in the field, we don't run out to in the field, which ultimately costs us money, and having to redo anything. So not saying there won't be errors, but the clash detection part of it really eliminates a lot of that.
I'm still going?
Yes, sir. Electrical. So this is just more of electrical overall site plans, lighting plan, power plan. I think that's the last sheet.
Yep, I'm out of stuff.
So we have given, like I said, we've submitted these documents to Barn Construction. They are advertising, they have to advertise for 2 consecutive weeks. I think in the original document, I thought it was Thursday, but it's Friday, so they have everything that they need to get to the spur. So it will be advertised for this upcoming Friday and the next Friday. And I believe we have a pre-bid meeting, which will be a virtual meeting that gives us an opportunity or potential subcontractors to ask us questions if they see any errors or if they've got just any questions amongst, myself or plumbing or mechanical or electrical. That'll happen on the 26th at 10 a.m. And then I think we take bids at 2 p.m. on February 5th is when we expect to get those numbers in. That next week will be kind of a scoping week for myself and Jason, and then they'll have numbers for Mr. Coulter to present to you. And I'm sure we'll all be back here in the same room going over numbers.
Ask questions.
If we break ground in February, top to bottom, what do you anticipate timeline wise on this?
Jason, question. I don't know. I know before it was far, I think they were talking about, is it 9 months?
Don't give me given numbers.
Jason's not here, so we can get you that information.
You say 11?
He's
got 11, I believe.
11. Okay.
Surely not.
Stephen, I have the bids due on the 4th.
Is the 4th?
That's
Okay.
what I've got on my calendar.
Okay.
We could change the advertising.
I might have got it wrong. I think,
Just
yeah, the 4th.
16.
And we were planning to do kind of a groundbreaking coming soon ceremony, I think, right before the board meeting.
Next board meeting.
Yes, sir. So,
This is where I'm at, and I don't know if I'm speaking for everybody. Me and Andy have been on this project since day one, when it started. 4 years ago. We've been on the board, we're the only 2 original board members still on. I know when we first this came back at 15 million, we looked at each other like, well, at least that was a good idea. And then you guys came back 7.5, and then we started cutting all this stuff off and chopping it down to basics, nothing. We already went through that. I wasn't on the board at the time with our gym that we built back here. It wasn't you guys, it was another company, but they took dressing rooms and this off, and now the main thing we need out there are dressing rooms. We went with the cheap court, we went with this. So I don't really want to cut stuff off, because then we're gonna think further down the line, man, that was kind of a waste. But if we're cutting all this stuff off, because we already know what the pricing was on a couple other facilities that were recently built. And then when it comes back to us and it's right at that 7, I'm like, that we've already cut all this stuff off and we're right back to square one. It's getting frustrating, for me, maybe not anybody else, but,
And me.
yeah, and you. I mean, if we cut everything off and then we still come back at 6, like we didn't really gain anything. Because I wish somebody told us at the very start, can't do it for that, go fly a kite. Then, run us through this rigmarole for the last 4 years. We can either do it for this much or we can't.
Right.
This is a facility we want. Monday just built a new one. Colorado City just built a new one. We know what they built it for. This is what we want. We can't do that. Okay, then we'll find somebody that can. That's all I wish we would have had, instead of this meeting after meeting after meeting, and we're back to 6 million. We're back to, then you can't do it. That's where I'm at. If you can't do it, you can't do it.
Mhm.
Or am I the only one that feels like that?
I haven't been here for any of it. I feel like that.
It has definitely been a process, but tonight our goal is to approve what he's presented. And then the next time we meet, we look at the numbers. Is that right? Is that, am I on there? Okay,
Right.
okay.
Right. But if there's, and Stephen can correct me, you have more experience this than I do. If at some point there is the desire to add something that's not on the design, that can be done.
Yes, sir.
Batting cages, for instance.
Right, right. I do appreciate your transparency in walking us through this, because the
Sure.
last time we did this, we knew nothing.
Yeah.
And so this is very helpful.
For the record, Stephen, I offered them the 440-page document
Oh, yeah.
that you sent to me, and none of them asked me for it, but,
So just to know, Buddy Holly was 4,000
oh.
pages.
Wow.
So it was quite a-
All we want to see
Poor
is the
board.
last thing. With the price tag. That's all we want to see.
You know, I mean,
When I go shopping for a car, I want to see the price tag. Wife said leather seats and heated. That's all. Okay, that's all one I want to see.
it's not this is not a meeting for us, I think, to be somewhat defensive, but if we're talking about transparency, and you talked about the 12, that passed, I mean, we did what that AD asked us to draw.
Right.
Right? And the budget from, Mr. Tubb was 12, right? We didn't know that that's not how you guys felt.
Mhm.
And so, we were just as shocked as you were in terms of that that's not what the board was actually after. But, at the end of the day, it's not our project, it's your project. We want to draw ultimately what you guys want. We're not the ones that dictate the price. We're just trying to reflect what you guys want. And ultimately FAR or whichever contractor we've had is the ones responsible for the price. And we've tried to, they have clearly committed to you to a price. And we've tried to align on what they have budgeted to what we have drawn to make sure that we're moving down the right path. So hopefully,
That's appreciated.
this has been
The only
it's
reason.
been a long journey with us, right? Yeah. So
I mean, I
we
feel like.
want to see it through.
I feel like you should probably just move to Jaden as many times as you've been here. But I mean, everything that you've said, that's either yes or no, like, that was the biggest thing. We looked at Colorado City, the covers over the bleachers, they had it.
Yeah.
The strike field, they had it, the black fencing, they had it. Everything you're telling us that could be cut, yes or no, the only thing they didn't have was parking lot. They just had the old football field parking lot.
Well,
Well, I think their concession stand was already there. wasn't it?
Yeah.
but I think the only reason, I think all of these items are in Jason's number. We just felt like it's an option of a shopping list just in case, right? Like, so you have the option to either pick it or don't pick it. But from my understanding, from what Jason described to us, that, yes, the lighting was included. Yes, the canopy is there, because we've actually reduced the seating from 350 to 150. So, there's a lot of reductions in that system that ultimately I think will offset by getting the canopy. So I'm not saying that those items are outside of his number, otherwise we wouldn't be doing this. I think we just wanted to make sure that you have kind of the shopping list of items, as kind of like that plan B, just in case that.
As I've shared with you all too, all along, I have viewed this, as a twofold challenge. One is a financial challenge and the other one is a political challenge. And so I'm trying to walk that tightrope to exhibit due diligence with respect to a fair chunk of our community that are resistant to it. But at the same time, as I've said to you all, we're going to start and finish a third season without a home field. And I think we can get a good home field to play on. I believe we can.
So the other one area I just want to talk about, so we have alternates, we also have allowances. And it's just like a budget. So we have a total of, I think, seven allowances. And allowance number one is basically $100,000 owner contingency. So that is at the discretion to you to spend if there are unforeseen things that come up. Or if there's something like cabinetry that you want to add back in, it is there as a line item. And this was a number that Jason recommended based on their past experiences to do about $100,000 owner contingency. You may think that that's too much. At the end of the day, this is money that you either spend or don't spend. It comes back to you if you don't spend it. If you don't spend $100,000, it just goes right back to you. So that's how these allowances are used. There is a $30,000 contractor contingency. Don't think that, they think sometimes that is their money. It's not their money. It's your money. And ultimately, it's my job and your job to ultimately approve that. But again, those are unforeseen circumstances that might happen that nobody was aware of. Allowance number 3 is a $30,000 sound and AV allowance for the stadium. So that is a list of design build equipment that Jason recommended that was done on previous projects. Allowance number 4 is a $95,000 for backstop netting. So that is an allowance to provide safety netting, backstops, poles, foundations, the whole bit, an engineered system for both softball and baseball. It could be less than that. That was a number that Tarkett put together for them in their bidding. And so that is a number that we're holding for that system. Allowance number 5 is $130,000 for 2 scoreboards in their entirety. Seems a little high to me. I have not vetted that. That was a number that Jason ultimately gave to us to put into this project. Allowance number 6 is a $20,000 allowance for soil compaction, steel testing. It's basically a third-party testing agency for testing. And then allowance number 5 is the $5,000 allowance for any type of exterior or interior signage that we may have. You have ADA signs that you got to put on the outside of the buildings. If there's any kind of signage that you want to do on the building itself, it's just an allowance there. So you could spend 500 of that and then 4,500 of that going right back to your pocket.
I'm not counting on it.
So I always talk about Talkington because we had a $400,000 allowance or kind of a contingency for Talkington. And that was done during COVID, which was really difficult for anybody to do. We did it remote. Ultimately, there was a wood company that burned down in California. That was just a nightmare. But between us and the owners reps and the contractors, we saved, I think we gave them back $375,000 that they didn't use on that project. And that was a lot of back and forth. There was things that we wanted that they didn't want. There's a lot of back and forth trading amongst design elements and some other things, but, so we hope to not spend it, but there's some items that ultimately backstop netting, those kind of things, you just have to have. And just because that, $130,000 there for scoreboards doesn't mean you gotta spend $130,000 for scoreboards. So.
Jumbotrons.
Any questions on allowances?
When it comes to scoreboards, will we decide what we spend on scoreboards?
Yes, sir.
At that point?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, they'll have bids, for that. There will be, it's an open book, right? So they should be able to go through, hopefully Jason's sitting down and saying, look, we had, 8 electrical subs bid this. We've gone with this one. Maybe they're most expensive, maybe they're not the most expensive, right? Maybe there's a reason for why they picked certain ones. But ideally, he should be able to go through every trade and talk to you about those. Sometimes you only get one, right? It just depends. We're in a remote part. So any questions, anything on that, Abby?
Something went in my head.
Yeah. But yeah, you should be able to.
Oh, I was gonna say on the school board, that is an area, oftentimes we see sponsors come in and cover some of those costs. So if you have local businesses that come in town want to help, that's an area that would be
Yeah.
great to have them.
Advertise.
Mhm. I think Friendship Stadium is called, like, People's Bank Stadium or something, you know, because they've sponsored that.
She seems high, but I don't know.
I don't know, what did our marquee cost, like 30?
Do what?
What did that marquee cost? Was it like, do you remember, Lacy? It was pretty expensive, wasn't it? Ma'am,
The sign at the front of
the marquee
No,
up by the trailer
Highway.
park, that was
Yeah.
pretty expensive, wasn't it?
Well, I think it was 46, is that right?
Yeah, and that was just a little marquee.
But it's got a, I mean, when you dig through this, right, I mean, it's 20 by 6 by 8. You know, I mean, it's a big scoreboard, and it's got an aluminum decorative truss arch, so there's. You know, it could have some flair to it that we may not necessarily need. So,
All those things will come through the shop drawings too. And so a shop
Yeah.
drawing is basically the contractor putting in graphic form or schedules what they interpret the drawings to provide. And so then we get another chance, that's part of our contract, to review those submittals. And any that the district wants to see, we can send all, we can send some, but specifically the ones that have to do with aesthetics and input like that, we're gonna bring to your attention and have you either have a committee to look at it or a specified person that look at those and approve them. You may want to see all the NUP, you know?
yeah,
So we'll talk through that and just that everything comes back yet again. For review and approval.
you gotta get that goal just
And
right.
Each piece,
You know.
each piece of art will come back to our
Olive,
office.
it's
During
called olive
construction.
something. I think olive green,
Our gold,
yes.
it just changed over the years. I think we're down to Vegas gold. or-
Vegas gold, that's it, yeah, Vegas gold, that's it. But we started that early because we know how that process takes a long time. And the last thing we want to do is try to get colors approved like a week before the submittals due, so if we start on that early, then we kind of covered that, so.
Surely LED lights. We went all LED throughout our school.
Yes, sir.
Football field,
Yes, sir.
basketball, everything's LED.
Yeah. I don't think we can make the lights dance or do anything like that, but yeah.
Colorado City, the flash.
Do they
They
flash?
did, they
That was
did.
neat. They flashed. red.
So we might, I don't know.
They could do red.
That spec
Red
on
light.
that lighting is ginormous, so. It just kept going and going and going.
Anybody else have anything else? Everybody good? So this is an action I will need, consider approval of the plans and specifications for the JJSD softball and baseball complex that we were just rendered by Mr. Stephen Drool.
Motion.
Andy makes a motion.
I'll second.
Cody seconds, all in favor?
Do you contact Jason or do I?
I'll let you do it.
Okay,
Yeah, just let him know that.
I'll do it.
So.
I'll hit the send button.
Call him right now.
And so this needs to go in the paper then, because it has to be posted, right? So
Yeah.
then you send it to the paper tonight.
Hey,
It's
what?
going out this week, right?
The advertisement
Yeah.
will be going out
It'll
Friday.
go out from Jason, it won't go out from us.
Okay,
It's for soliciting bids for work.
Okay.
For this bid. And so the next step for us is to just talk about what this, groundbreaking ceremony looks like, right? We've probably got a table and hats and big photo op opportunity, probably a sign.
Kids asked if we'd have a golden shovel.
We will
Okay.
have golden shovels.
And that's, what we've discussed, is that happening at 6 p.m. prior to the next board meeting on this February the 16th.
Maybe get
So, you and I confer on, I don't know how that process works. Who gets the sign? Do I get the sign?
us and Jason will work
Jason will
that.
do
Yeah, mostly Jason will do that, yeah. But, somebody could do a ceremonial throw and hit, kind of something fun. There's a lot of fun things you could look at doing.
Me and Andy will cook hot dogs.
So,
That's
Oh, good,
February.
professional.
Do we have any?
I know we didn't panhandle them, and they usually get like news media outlets, there's some things like that come, they always want to talk to the
Oh,
superintendent.
we'll do that earlier in the day.
For the president.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
After lunch sometime, maybe? We'll
What's
do
that?
the 16th.
For the groundbreaking? Yeah, I'm, whatever time.
I guess y'all will be here too,
we will be here, yes, sir.
or we can do it somewhere in the afternoon. That way they don't have to come early and Hang out at the
Is it
store.
dark at 6 o'clock?
I Googled it, so the sun sets at 6:28 that day.
To about 4:30.
I think we just hang out for,
Scared to deer.
hang out, or it'll probably take a little bit, right? Take a little bit of time. You gotta give a speech, you know, and fun stuff.
I can follow.
Yeah.
Well, y'all cooking up hot dogs?
Yeah.
Burger dogs.
Veggie.
But that's an exciting time. I know we've all been through a long journey.
Yeah.
Let's get to this point, and we thank you for your patience with it, so.
I will say, as far as the reduction in the overall scope, most of it has been in quantity of items, like the dugouts would be reduced for different things like that versus quality.
Right.
So the quality you're getting here, I feel is top notch. It's just expanding, you know, to get to some of those other components you may want in the future. Yeah, I don't think you're going backwards by any means.
Okay.
Yeah.
If
That's
that
good.
helps.
Yeah, that does help.
I just want to do it right the first time.
Yes, absolutely. And I feel like the pieces you've got, you know, they're gonna be set and be really good for what you need. You know, you might decide to go with the caliche now, and then you may pave that parking lot later, something like that. But as far as the fields, the lighting, the equipment, you know, you're set on that.
Good. Thanks, Steve. Thank y'all for.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you. Yes, sir. Yep. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Sir. Thanks, sir. Yep. Thanks, sir. Thanks for coming. Nice job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate for being here again.
Of course. We love Jaden.
So do I. Building a house, those tiny home. Project management. Architect.
We need one.
Get you there.
I'll be careful.
You give me a bottle of water for me.
Sure.
Thank you.
All right, next we'll move into number 7, Mr. Humphries, just in time.
Yeah.
Long time, it's good.
First of all, how'd the game go?
We're in Florida. No. We lost the first one. 3. I thought it was like that on our yeah. 3-1. The rest of them are not competitive. The first game was only a competitive one, so good there. Enrollment 188. We had one check-in before break. They checked out when we got back from break, opted to homeschool. So we're back to 188. So not quite at that 189 or 190 we moved towards. At the stock show, big success. We had 56 kids show. That's really good for a community our size. Neat undertaking. And then we had cheers. So that was got in the nation. I've learned one thing. I can judge lambs a whole lot better than I can judge cheerleaders. I could play the class of lambs within one. If he was there, he can vouch. I've been cheerleading for 2 years. I can tell you what, I can't place them. I have no clue. I know that whatever they're judging and I'm judging are not the same. Not saying I'm right or wrong, but I have no clue what the criteria is.
It's a random draw.
So stock show is much different, but the girls in Cooper did a great job, competed well. We improved in many ways over the year before, according to the scores, but just leave it at that. Who knows?
Cheerleading's like the rabbit show, right? The rabbit.
Yeah, no, rabbit, I couldn't tell you. Yeah, maybe that's whatever.
So do you know we're being recorded?
Yeah.
Okay.
I support rabbits.
Yeah. So you don't want me to judge cheer. We got basketball going. Again, we have basketball night. The Lady Jays are starting round 2 on Friday against Aspermont here, so that'll be a big game for them. We have Wellington and Westbrook coming tomorrow night, so it'll be quality matchups there. And so kind of that way, Lainey Baldridge competed in jazz band. You get to go 5 slides. I went to robotics, so really neat there to have her competing there. There's another all-region band this weekend. I don't know which.
Just swim kids.
Yeah. So what that one is, but with robotics competed well. They moved up to 3rd. You get paired with all these teams, and so they're ranked up to 3rd. At the end of the deal, you pick teams. It's kind of unique, but really unique game this year. Really neat there. But
that's what kind of went on last weekend, went on recently. We're hosting a one act play clinic clinic festival, whatever you want to call it this week, where they get to go over their OAPs. They get feedback. We're going in the morning tomorrow from 9 to noon. And then on Wednesday, we'll flip and they'll go in the afternoon so we can be in a little bit of class this week. 6 of 8 went out today, did well. I believe there were 6 and 2, had some rookies that went out and got their first taste of that, so they did really well. And then again on Friday, as we talked about, the All Region Band Weekend. We have a UIL academic meet at Haskell tentatively. She's already called today based upon the weather, so it could be postponed to next weekend, but we'll wait and see with Mother Nature's and all of those things. And if we can now move Friday's game up to Thursday if we had to. I talked to Kevin and Ryan today based on weather, but since they're traveling to us, we'll wait till later in the week and let them make that decision as far as the game, the varsity game on Friday.
Oh, you mean because of the UIL rule changes?
The rules change, which will allow them to us to play on, if snow and ice and all that stuff are imminent, which would mean we would have precipitation, which let's hope so, but not snow and ice.
Historically, the UIL has only allowed you to play extracurricular ball games on one school night per week. That's why you're almost always scheduled on Friday. But just this year, they made a modification in the rules to allow you, under extraordinary circumstances, to play 2 school nights if you need to. So
we'll see on that. And then we have Little Rivers and Spur on Saturday. So that's kind of what's going on. February is a busy, slower month, and then January is, and then we get to February, and it's all out till the end. So good start back. It's hard to believe Friday we'll be through with our 3rd week back, Christmas break. Great. So that's all I got on my end. Any questions? Good to see all of you here. This is the first time I've seen everybody. This is the first time I've seen everybody here, and it's like it's on going.
and Roy and BJ have packets to fill out, so they can stay.
That's a quick turnaround. Yeah, it is. So anyways, thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll move to Mr. Coulter's report.
Okay, did you take a vote on the softball, baseball? Okay, was that 7-0?
Mhm.
That was 7-0.
I think Andy made the motion and Cody
All right.
seconded.
So you all hear me say this every time. If the leaders of an organization that exists only for the purpose of learning are not focused on learning, then nobody else will be. So you all saw that you have been credited with board training based on the credentials that I've had for 2 or 3 or 4 years. I don't know how long. The TEA has changed the standards to achieve their credentials. And so I've made the choice not to pursue and try to keep those credentials, because for a number of reasons, but not the least of which is in the future, if I were to do Team of 8 training with you, I would have to do it for 3 solid hours and read every word of every PowerPoint slide that they sent to me on Zoom, so somebody in Austin could be watching to make sure I was doing that. And to me, that's another system built on distrust, and I don't think I want to play that anymore. The downside is, well, maybe the upside. I don't know. Somebody else will be doing your board training in that regard, not me, but you can be the judge. But anyway, you've got board training, all of you have got board training for right now for Team of 8 and ISO. And then of course, the 3 of you that are newbies, even though you 2 are really not newbies, initial board training for the district. I want to say thanks publicly to you all. This is School Board Appreciation Month. And I know you don't get paid enough. I know it's not much fun. I know things don't always go like you want them to. But I appreciate your service. I am thankful I get to call a fair number of businesses and a lot of school districts. And I can tell you the way Kelsey and Tony and Tanya and Lacey answer the phone and respond to people that call this place it exudes positivity. And it's not that way when I call some other people. It's almost like I'm annoying them by giving them a call, and I'm very appreciative. Leola and Amy Tuttle and Lauren Huff, I thought did a great job on the Christmas program. And I keep thinking about the little girl who couldn't keep her halo on during that deal. It makes me smile. Keith Emfinger, he seems always to be ahead of me on stuff, and I'm thankful. And he'll come in the office and let me know what he's done, and I thought, oh yeah, I should have been thinking about that. So when we went to the state football game, boy, there was a lot of moving parts there. But I'm particularly thankful for Jamie and Lauren and Angela, Stephanie and Josh, because they did a lot of the logistical things and the background passes and making arrangements and hotels and all that stuff. The holiday tournament, I've had more than one person tell me how smoothly that went. And it's the first time since probably 2001 that I've been involved at it other than just a spectator. But it went extremely smoothly. I can't say enough about our maintenance team. And I only think there were twice during the tournament that the officials got irritated at a fan, which is very unusual. But I'm thankful.
And none of them were ours.
Right.
Even better.
So on two occasions and recently, we've been stretched thin. And so we've had basketball teams go off somewhere with only a coach on the bus. And so in one case, I asked Clay Gentry if he would serve as the backup person in case we had a kid get hurt significantly, so the coach could keep coaching. And then in another instance, I asked BJ, and I appreciate their willingness to do that. And some of you have heard me say this before, and this is through the lens of being an old coach and also an administrator in small schools. In football, we played a varsity schedule, a JV schedule, and 2 junior high schedules, which is just remarkable. And every week, I think, our coaches hustled and found games, and it would be a lot easier for them not to. I mean, they'd still get the same amount of pay. And the same thing's going on with basketball. Varsities, JVs on both, and the boys were playing some freshman games. And then both boys and girls were playing 2 junior high schedules. And those coaches are scheduling games. Like tonight, we had 3 different opponents. Last week, we played junior high schedule. We had 4 different opponents. And what it means is more snaps, more minutes, more opportunities. And I think all of you probably are very aware. It's one thing to practice. It's another thing to get out there and play a ball game. The intensity is higher when the lights are on. And so I think we're not through losing. We're going to keep winning, and largely because the coaches do that. State champion display thing. I talked to Dustin Sadler last week, and they're still waiting on some prices from a supplier that they're trying to put together the proposal for it to put in front of you. As soon as I have it, well, then it'll be on the agenda for you. Jamie and I have been having a steady conversation about forecasting and anticipating possible calendar problems. Like we got the weather coming this weekend. That's dicey. We also have made conversations about possibilities of playoff basketball games and how those impact the calendar. So then, as you can see on the screen, we have another professional development day on February the 16th, actually. It's the day of our next board meeting. It's a staff day. And I met Ben. Well, he's actually Mary Kate Chisholm's cousin. And so I met him as I watched Mary Kate's dad do a remarkable turnaround in health. And I asked John one day, what in the world, how are you getting well? And he said, oh, I got a nephew that's a physician, and I've just been doing what he's telling me. And so I asked Ben last week if he would be willing to come spend a couple hours with us on that morning of the 16th. My intention is to, if you all, or if you know somebody, I think I'll just throw the doors open to anybody in the community that wants to come to listen to Ben. And I've asked him, I've told him, he asked how I wanted to arrange it. I said, well, but here's what I'd like. The first hour, you tell us what you want to tell us. We'll take a short break. And then the second hour, you take questions and just let our folks pepper you. And he ain't scared. UIL alignments come out.
Can we put that on the? Where'd it go? We'll keep it. Can we put that Ben Edwards on the calendar?
Yeah, I will.
On the app, so I look at that,
Yeah.
then I can, that way I'll remember it.
Sure.
Cause I'd like to go with it.
Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna tell you. You'll hear it if you're there. UIL alignments will be out, first week of February. It still looks like we're probably gonna be, the UIL sent me, or all of us, notification this week of a slight modification in the 5A level, but it looks like we're still gonna be Division I in Class A. Barely. The new bus is at the sign shop. I expect it to be delivered any day. Board training requirements, I've already spoken to that. Some of our, for several years, our students have taken classes, some Spanish in particular, through the Texas Virtual School Network. And so when Guthrie, and my daughter Summer has, for the most part, been the teacher of those classes. The legislature this spring decided to sunset Texas Virtual School Network. And they're going with a much more wide open model of course delivery. And I mean, they've really opened up the educational playing field. So what we're fixing to do, TXVSN has been sort of the state warehouse for all those courses. And I can tell you from hard experience, they haven't been very easy to work with. So we're already signed up with our kids this spring through TXVSN to take those classes. But once we get ready for the fall, we're just going to buy them directly from Spanish from Guthrie and whatever else. You're still teaching A&P? A&P, it'll just be point-to-point sales. It won't go through TEA. I've mentioned to y'all before, the legislature in the springtime decided we needed to have signage on all the doors to make sure that males were only going into male dressing rooms and the females were only going into female dressing rooms, and they really weren't accounting for coaches and stuff. So we now have signage. We are compliant with the law. That's all I got on my report, unless you got questions about something for me.
No, we're good. No, sir. You want to move on to the discussion item?
Yeah, speaking of the legislature, they've also decided that every school district should have the overt opportunity to declare a certain point in the school day that is designated for prayer and reading of whole sacred script text. When I first saw that, I thought, yeah, we're just going to play dead on that. But no, we can't play dead on that. We either have to declare next month, we'll either declare we're going to do that, or no, we're going to opt out of that. I was at a superintendent meeting on Wednesday in Lubbock, and of about 50 superintendents in the room, there was not one superintendent that said that they were inclined to designate that time of the day. I mean, if we got a kid that wants to read the Bible, they're going to read the Bible. If we had a kid who wants to pray, they can pray. And we're not going to stop and say, this is the moment in the day when you're going to read the Bible. But I said that. That's my view. You all are the board. But next month, it'll have to be an action item. I invite your thoughts, or I got the cart in front of the horse a little bit, but I was trying to influence your thinking.
How do they decide which religion text they're going to read?
I know.
Because
I know
in our school, we're predominantly Christian,
I know.
but in large schools that I go in, lots of religions are represented.
I have been in those schools.
Yeah.
I have had large Muslim populations. I forgot, is it
Is it a certain amount of time that they're saying in this bill?
No, they just said,
So what if it takes them an hour? They just get to miss math every day? Cause that's a class I would pick.
I would assume we
I would-
don't need
the
more
goddess of love
logistics
might be the-
in our day
Right.
to worry about.
Do what?
I would assume we don't need more logistical, juggling
Well-
in a typical day. And especially in an environment where we know they are free to pray or read the Bible anytime they need to.
I don't know of a teacher or an adult in this building that would stop a kid from praying or reading the Bible.
No.
No. I don't know.
Interesting.
But anyway, that's coming.
Okay, everybody get on it.
All right.
Next, we'll move to the learning optimization for all discussion item, evaluation season is upon us.
Yeah.
T-tests and T-pass.
Yeah, just
Professional positions in February, March.
yeah, just a heads up. So professional, typically what'll happen is professional administrative kind of contracts will come to you next month. And then, and that would be Jamie and AC, Darla. I think that's, Scott had Darla's on that last year as an administrative. Keith doesn't have a professional contract.
No.
So I guess that's all. I'll have to look at Kayla's. I'm not sure about Kayla's. But then usually the following month, even now, my preference will be for us to look at teacher contracts in March. And then after that, the people that are at will, like me, they don't get a contract, but it's just a letter of reasonable assurance. And that's basically so they can't claim unemployment during the summertime. So that's coming your way. That's all I got there, sir.
Okay, the next one, we'll move to effective and efficient learning operations. An action items, consent items, the minutes of November 10th, 2025 board meeting, the permanent school fund request, the financial reports, order and notice of general election of 2 at-large school board trustees to be held on May 2nd, 2026, to include our early voting with Craig Harrison as early voting administrator. 2025-26 safety audit completed by consultant David Cox.
The two things there that are not normally there is the bottom two. And Kelsey and I talked about it, and we're gonna have a board election. We can't not have a board election, so that's why it's a consent item.
Right.
And then the safety audits, just box checking stuff, so. Unless you got questions, I can recommend all that soon.
Anybody look through financials, anything, or any questions?
My question is on the architect. I saw that we've had 2 draws to go toward them. Is their ultimate payment going to be a percentage of what this cost, or the longer this draws out, the more payments they get? How's that working?
The architect is paid 6% of whatever the final price on the project is.
Okay.
I have an invoice sitting here for another $120,000 that I got last week. So if the project comes in at $5 million, which it's not, it's going to be more than that, they would get paid $300,000. And so the invoice I have on my desktop right now puts them right at $300,000. My guess is, and kind of Cody alluded to this earlier, what I've been trying like the devil to do is hold them under 6. I'm still gonna be surprised if we end up under 6, but I'm gonna try. But whatever, they get 6%
Okay.
of that.
And so they've just gotten an advance on some of it. That's what what they've gotten is subtracted off of the ultimate 6%.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes,
So because they've been working,
Mhm.
they're
Yeah.
getting paid for.
presumably.
Yeah.
That's still in question. 40 pages of drawings.
Yeah, and you didn't look at the 440. I know.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent items as if we need.
Yeah, we need a motion.
I'll second.
Cody makes a motion, Kinsey seconds, all in favor? Next, we'll move to action item, reconsider revisited policy BE local per TASB legal guidance.
I guess I'll apologize to you. We acted on this last month and we decided we were gonna do it for 4 days. And when I told our TASB liaison, she said our attorneys are not gonna be okay with that. And so because the legislature said we have to post board agendas 3 business days before the meeting occurs. And then the TASB attorneys are interpreting that as 3 business days before the meeting occurs. And the day that the meeting occurs is another day, and the day that you actually post the agenda is another day. So it really turns out to be 5 business days. So that's what we're, if you approve this, BE local will say 5th business day before the agenda is the last day for a board member. That's what the last day that a board member can ask for something to be added to the agenda.
So we should have it posted every Tuesday night, then the board meeting's Monday night.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, so we'll need a motion to approve that.
I make a motion that we reconsider revised policy BE local.
Stephanie makes a motion.
I'll second it.
Andy seconds, all in favor?
All right.
And that, just says to approve the revised policy as presented by TASB. Good enough? Okay.
Next will be action item, consider appointment of Margot Clay to the Kent County Appraisal Board.
Yeah, we had appointed previously Judy White and Marilyn Bennett, and then Marilyn Bennett moved out of the county. And so we have to have another person, and again, I don't think Roy and BJ have heard this, but I try very hard to protect the time of you all. You're volunteering a lot, and a lot of folks just say one of the board members has to do that too. And I'm not. We got people that are willing to serve, and Margot said, "Yeah, I'll be glad to serve." So.
We'll need a motion to approve it. BJ makes a motion, Roy seconds, all in favor? Next will be an action item, consider submissions for request for qualifications 2026-01 for building 2044 square foot teacher at 801 Claremont Street.
Yeah, and this is probably the trickier of the things on the agenda today, or other than the softball, baseball thing. Where did I put that thing? There it is. So, I was stacking the deck a little bit by advertising only in the Spur paper because I knew that Heinemann was gonna put in a bid. What I did not expect is to get only 1 bid. So if you all wanna back the bus up and let me advertise in the Lubbock and Abilene paper, I'm perfectly fine with doing that. I'm happy for Heinemann to get the bid. They've been very helpful in helping put together the stuff. And I think we're gonna close on the Snyder property very soon. Well, bottom line, I think we're probably fixing to build a couple more houses, and what I'll tell you is in the next ones, we'll go ahead and spend the money and advertise in that way in Lubbock paper. But my recommendation to you is that we, if you look on the screen, on the request for qualifications that we sent out for people that say that, yeah, we think we can and want to try to build your house for you. That item there on section B in the bold print says the owner at its discretion retains the right to select 1 respondent at this stage. Well, we only had 1 bidder. And so if we have the right for you to just authorize me to begin negotiations with Heinemann to build a house, if that's what you want to do. And so my recommendation to you would be that, but it's okay with you if you disagree with me.
Have we ever been unhappy with Heinemann? I mean, I'm assuming we've used them.
I think Heinemann has built every house this district owns other than the 2 that were built last year.
7 or 8 of them, or 7.
They did. The Humphreys, Josh, Johns, the Humphreys and the Millers.
They did all of them on Teacher Road.
Yeah,
The
they
one
did
I
all
used to
those
live in.
all
All
those
those
houses.
houses.
Yeah, Teacher Row, those are Bob Reed, but
They were who?
the first ones.
Oh,
out here
Bob.
were-
Yep, okay. Yep, you're right. I forgot about Bob's.
Years ago, a long time ago,
Long time ago. Yep.
Who was that, Ro?
Bob's Ready Built.
Oh, okay.
But,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
and
Thank you for catching
they
that.
were real good at getting them in and getting them set up and taking care of stuff when it wasn't like these, it wasn't, okay, next month, what it turned in from July to February.
Well, yeah, John called me the first week I was on duty with you all and, second week of March and said, I think I'll be able to hand those houses off to you April the 1st. And we didn't get them. And then May 1st arrived and we didn't have them. And June 1st arrived, we didn't have them. Finally, July, I'm a lot more patient than I used to be. I finally said, stick a fork in it, buddy. We need to move some families in. I'm not gonna say everything I want to say there. What do you like?
So we'll need a motion to, if everybody's good with it, we'll make a motion to approve to move forward with Inman Homes for the question qualifications for 2026-01 for building of 2,040 square foot teacher home at 801 Claremont Street.
I'll make the motion.
Andy makes a motion,
I'll second it.
Stephanie seconds, all in favor?
All right, thank you for your confidence. I appreciate it.
The next action item will be consider revised letter of agreement with Nelson Coulter for services interim superintendent with intent to postpone superintendent search until further notice.
We've had a couple of conversations in back channel, not conversations, me preaching. So if, y'all wanna do that, we can. If you don't wanna do that, I
Not saying, it's
understand.
like I said during the last staff development, I think you're doing an awesome job. I think you're transparent with everybody, not just the board, but the staff and the community. Thank you. You're firm and fair, you take care of business, you've been doing it long enough, you make wise decisions, and I think you do it because your heart's in it. So I'm all for it if everybody else is with it.
Thank you. Thank you for your confidence. One of the benefits of being old is you have a lot of mistakes to look back on, you know. The smart ones learn from their mistakes. I'm gonna pretend I'm trying to be smart.
And I guess everybody read that letter where he would be able to use a school vehicle and fuel. And I just wasn't even thinking he's driving his personal truck to all these games and state and not even saying anything and putting his own bill. Surely we paid for your hotel room, didn't we?
Well, no, according to our first agreement, in our first agreement, when we met in March, I said, you pay me 60 cents a mile instead of the state rate 70 cents a mile if I'm going to something that I wouldn't be going to anyway. So I wasn't charging you for going to games where my granddaughters are playing or those kinds of things, you know.
But that's very generous of you.
It is.
Well, my purpose here is not to beat you out of money. But the old lady I've been married to has been harping at me about the miles on my pickup.
Well, she
So
does.
that's what this is about.
Yeah.
So, having a vehicle to use instead of putting miles on my pickups, the main reason for the revision and sending the message that it sounds like you all want to send is we're not ready to start a search yet. So,
Correct.
okay.
That's the message.
Everybody good with that?
I'm going to abstain with conflict on this one.
That's understandable. I'll make the motion.
Okay, Andy.
I think you could agree with us.
Andy makes a motion.
If you don't.
Andy makes a motion to consider the revised letter of agreement with Mr. Coulter for services interim superintendent with intent to postpone the superintendent search until further notice. Voice seconds, all in favor?
If she didn't agree, it would be an act of mercy, right? So, Kinsey and Cody, I skipped a couple of documents you need to sign for me. That's the minutes that you approved earlier. I got distracted. Okay, this is tricky. This one, has to do with the ordering the election, for May the 2nd. Every one of you have to sign this one, but we'll start with Cody, because his goes, on the top, and then Cody, you just start passing it round robin around the room. So that everybody else signs on one of those other 6 units.
This one, the top.
That says presiding officer. Cody, sign this one also. Cody, that pen is kind of like one of those that at the convenience store that has the flower tape.
I don't know if y'all noticed.
Nobody will steal that 19-cent pen.
They are, these.
I had to take the tag.
I didn't put the date on it.
You don't want one with
19.
the flower one?
No, I just can't, I don't hold it right, so
Okay.
the flag was in my hand. So.
Yeah, all the classes did a really good job.
It's real sweet.
Yep.
Mhm.
I think that popcorn is from some group, so y'all each need to take.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Good. Our future's popping. We all take some popcorn. Thank you, Lacey.
Third and fourth.
And for the record, the agreement between you all and me that Cody just signed, I mean, the very last line on that, number 12, is I'm an at-will employee. So you all, the way the at-law rules read is I can be terminated for any reason or no reason.
So you can leave on your own.
Well, it runs both ways. It does.
Next,
You
you'll
gotta
know.
make that clear before you decide to go.
Do you need to call your wife first? Does he call your mom?
Kevin and I were working on the fence line one day. This has been several years ago. And he goes, you know, we're married to the same woman, right? I said, yes, I do.
Next, we'll move on to discussion item purchase of real properties in the city of Jayton from Emma Baeza or Timothy Snyder.
So the Baeza stuff it's still hung up, and I think it's with the family. I think Amy's taking care of mom and it sounds like it must be a challenge, but I know they want to do it, but it's just not moving very quickly. Snyder, you saw the ledger sheet on that. And all along, he had been telling me, you know, if I can walk away with 9450, I'm happy. And so that was the first sheet, and then Backus stepped in there and says, the school can't pay for the ad valorem taxes. So when I talked to Timothy, who's an old guy like me, and I said, if we make it 10,000, and you pay the taxes, we all are good. And he said, yeah, I'm good. So that got reflected in the final ledger sheet. So he told me on Saturday that he's flying in tomorrow, I think, to go to the abstract office and sign. I can sign virtually on our side of it. So I think that deal will close up here next couple of days, and then we can start making moves toward cleaning the lot and then have conversations about another house if we want to.
Thank you, sir. Okay, other than that, I guess, did we need to go to executive or anything? Everybody good? We'll need a motion to adjourn.
Make the motion.
Andy makes a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Cody seconds it. All in favor?
Thanks for your confidence and
Thank
thanks
y'all.
for your service, you all.
Thank you.
Some of it's not fun. I know.
You make it pretty easy.
Well,
Some of those on your end.
Don't be putting no more miles on your belt. That's your heartache.
so on that, part of that transportation bond stuff, the attorney called me last week. No, I need to turn this up.
Yeah.
You deleted the recording.